Sure. In reference to the God complex, where we're constantly referred to as heroes. And it's not to take anything away from any officer that's fallen. And there we have heroic moments. And this is my personal opinion of just the God complex, is, I put on a uniform and I get in the car and I go out there in the streets and I work. I love doing my job, but I'm getting paid to do all those things, to put that uniform a certain way when I put it on, to have my car in certain conditions when I go out there and get in it, to go out there on the street and answer these calls no matter what may come. And when I walk out the house, the chances of me being killed are what I'm getting paid for. I'm not getting paid to be killed, but I'm getting paid to take that chance. Much like an NFL athlete knows, every play could be your last, but they're getting paid to do it. And, I think the God complex really started with Cops, the show Cops. Before Cops, at my age, 54, I grew up watching Adam 12 and The Rookies and Dragnet. And if you watch those shows, there's interaction there between people. There was communication. There was dialogue in the problems. Of course, it was Hollywood, but the concept was that dialogue and coming to solutions and talking. Then came Cops. And Cops came, and you watch the credits when it comes on. There's no dialogue. There's lights, there's sirens, there's dogs barking, there's cars chases, there's foot chases, there's wrestling with suspects, there's fighting. So it starts out with, here's the action. So now we've got a generation of guys that grew up watching Cops. And they're coming, I want to do that. So they come in and they go to that academy. Us, them, us, them, us, them. Well, now we unleash that person out here. And they come out on the street, and everybody's just telling them, oh, you're a hero. They haven't done anything but get in their car that day and go out to work, maybe pull a few people over, work a few calls. And nothing heroic, that's what you're paid to do. But everybody's telling this 23, 24-year-old, you're a hero. And he's hearing this every day, and he's going and he's sitting down in a restaurant, and he's getting his meal half price. Or somebody's coming up and paying for his meal for him. Or there's, we're offering officers 20% off for this or that. And that's all fine and good. But after a while, that God complex creeps in, where you owe me because I'm doing all this for you, I'm risking my life. So once that comes in, you become the center of your universe. You're not a public servant anymore. All these people they're doing all but offering burnt offerings to you. So you elevate yourself, and that public servant now becomes the God. And when he becomes the God, what does that make the public? So then we get into a traffic stop or a minor incident where you can say something that constitutionally you're correct to say. But now, not only am I offended, but how dare you question my authority? Do you know who I am? I eat half price. These are little things that go off in your head, that God status, that God complex. People have convinced you that you're a hero and you're so big and great. Then we lead to dragging people out of the car. Then it gets out of hand. Then it's, well, the courts take my word for it. It's the God complex. It's unspoken, but it's a thought process that it enables some people, and they become some of these high-profile incidents that we see today. Most of these videos, go back and look at some of the videos where you have officer-citizen conflict. And look at the dialogue and the interaction. How did that officer approach that incident? How did he talk to that person? Whether they're black, white, Hispanic, male, female, doesn't matter. What was his demeanor when he went there? Pulling somebody over is not a happy event. I don't expect you to be happy when I walk up to the car. But that is your car, your space. Or if I'm at your house for a domestic disturbance or whatever. Yes, I have a legal reason to be there. But that's still your house. And if I come in with that God complex, and I come in and I'm going to take over authority over your house while I'm there, and move you to a place of irrelevance in your own house, now we're going to have conflict. Before we even get to the issue, you and I now have a conflict that's going on. And it goes back to communication skills. And that God complex, it develops and it festers and it festers and it brings results like we have today, where you have segments of communities throughout this country that just don't want to call the police, don't want to talk to the police. Why? Because you're going to treat me a lot worse, probably, than the person that I just got done dealing with. It's the reason I need to call you. Now, is that always true? No, but that's their perception of it. But they can base their perception on practical, real-life experiences, where I can sit back as an officer and say, well, you're just labeling me because that's how you feel, you're radical. No, if you sit down and talk to that person, they can give you experiences where they've had negative contacts with officers that didn't have to be that way.